Hey guys, it's your pal Victor Moreno here from cultfollowing.co and Cult Classics AZ, and today we are doing a film review. We're doing a review of the film Metamorphosis. It's a South Korean horror film that is debuting on Shudder on July 2nd, which is probably right now when you're watching this. And it was directed by director Kim Hong-soon. I'm not too familiar with his work. In general, I think I need to get a little bit more tuned into the whole South Korean horror film scene, as much as I am in like the drama scene. But let me just tell you a little bit about this movie, Metamorphosis. Basically, it's kind of like South Korean Exorcist. I feel like I'm kind of, it's not in a denigrate sort of way that I'm saying this. I'm just saying that, like, literally, it's, if you've seen The Exorcist, this movie's going to be really predictable, and that it kind of follows all the main beats of the film throughout. It tries to kind of inject the movie with its own regional flavor. And what I will say is the performances throughout the movie are strong enough that you can take the film on its merits as kind of like its own spin on The Exorcist. Because for the most part, if the director were to say, oh yeah, I've never heard of The Exorcist, I'd be like, you're lying. But yeah, for the most part, this film follows a character. His name is Young So, and or Yong Soo, and basically we get the cold open where he's helping. He's doing an exorcism of this young girl, and he's having some struggles throughout. And it seems like he's almost got it through, but then the girl's mother breaks in and stops the exorcism, which lets like the girl untie herself from her bed, and then she throws herself out the window, but only after the demon inside of her like kind of curses him that it'll get after his family and destroy that from within, and bites his hand. And years pass, and then we find him, he's like working at kind of like an archdiocese kind of place. Now he's a cabbage farmer, getting cabbage ready for like the kimchi season, and he's getting ready to leave the priesthood. But like the head of the archdiocese won't let him. And meanwhile, his family, his brother, Gangsu, and his family is moving into this new house, and there's an abandoned property next door, and it turns out that the demon is following the family and kind of takes hold of the person who lives at this sort of abandoned property. And well, not really. What it turns out is this demon has a lot of power. So basically, the demon takes hold of this property, and it can like assume a human guise. And it uses this ability to sort of infiltrate Yong-soo's brother's home, and it starts to imitate different members of his family, like his two daughters, his younger son, and his wife, when they're away, to create strife within the family unit, sort of rot the family from within. And that's kind of where the film sort of finds its strength, that it's like this movie about how like unspoken tensions and like simmering resentment like kind of destroys from within, both in Yong-soo is like this priest who's struggling with his faith, and this family that seems like idyllic on its surface, but then it's got like all these like simmering resentments from inside. Like they moved to this house even though they don't want to. The kids aren't happy, but they kind of keep it all under the surface. And all the performers do a great job with that throughout. It has some really gory production design throughout, especially when the father goes and visits this house next door, and you see all this blood everywhere, and these split open goats and blood dripping chickens. Kind of reminds you like the beginning of the Evil Dead 2013 remake, like very like that kind of vibe. And then like the practical makeup effects look cool because they do a lot of makeup applications, and like when the demon is sort of in its half demonic form after kind of losing its human guise. It has like cool, people have like cool contact lenses. They almost look like serpentine. So I like all the practical makeup effects. I will say like the actual demon possession is like straight out of Supernatural, with the black smoke that like rushes into you. And I'm like, I remember when I first saw Supernatural, I thought that was really cool. Now it's kind of like trite because so many movies kind of adopted that. And I'm not really going to knock a South Korean movie for doing it. I'm sure it's an easy shorthand. But at the same time, I hope eventually there's a new way of showing demon possession in a movie that isn't like Supernatural light. But the thing I think I like about this movie, even though it's kind of like I said, it's heavy homage slash ripoff, is Yoon So is a lot like Father Karras. And I hope I'm not spoiling the movie by saying that. You know, I'm sure everyone's seen The Exorcist, but he kind of gives his character a lot of pathos, and the movie goes in some interesting ways to like reconcile the family unit, and then there's some really wrenching stuff, and they try to do a few like fake outs. So it's like kind of a compelling movie, and I dug it a lot. I mean, so yeah, that's kind of like my review of it. It's, you know, it's an interesting review because like there's movies that like outright rip off a movie, and then you're kind of like, but then there's movies that like outright rip off a movie, and then it's kind of like, oh, that's still fun, you know, like a lot of movies at Severance, reissued like Shocking Dark. It's like a rip off of Aliens, but it's still like fun, you know, and it's its own thing in kind of a way. So that's kind of an easy way to do it. Like if you like, I'll say this, if like you watched Aliens and then you saw Shocking Dark and you still like Shocking Dark, it's kind of like that, like kind of like this. It's like if you saw The Exorcist and you see this, it's like, oh, I see the beats, but it's its own kind of thing. So overall, I'm kind of like in a scale of like, you know, 1 out of 5 stars. I'd probably go like a little bit over 3.5. You know, pretty solid. It says some interesting things, but it's kind of hard to get past how derivative of it is of The Exorcist. But yeah, check it out. It debuts Thursday on Shudder, which is now if you're watching this. And there's a lot of cool stuff coming up on Shudder next week. The Beach House comes out, which I will have a review of that on cookbowling.co, written one and a video one. And if you like Lovecraftian sort of and body horror films, you'll kind of dig it. It's kind of like, you know, Color Out of Space meets The Ruins. I'll talk about that some more. But yeah, stay tuned to cultfollowing.co. We'll have a lot more cool reviews up on there, especially lots of IFC, lots of Shudder titles coming up, and then we'll be doing some more, hopefully get a few podcasts up next week. But yeah, if you like this review, please hit subscribe. Then once you subscribe, follow notifications, tell your friends. We're trying to build this channel up. We're up to 1,500 subscribers. So anything you do to help helps us out. So thanks for tuning in. And check out Metamorphosis on Shudder, and we will talk to you all later.